Okay, if you've ever been around a business school, you know the debate. It's that constant push and pull, right? This tension that just seems to hang over everything. But what if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time?
Yeah, this one, the classic dilemma. You've got one camp screaming for more scholarly rigor, more theory. And then the other side is yelling back, no, we need practical tools. We need relevance for the real world. It feels like this unwinnable tug of war, doesn't it?
Well, let's just park that for a second. Because what if I told you there's a totally different way to look at this? A framework that says this whole rigor versus relevance thing, it's not a philosophical problem we need to solve. Nope, it's actually a symptom, a totally predictable sign of something much, much bigger. And here's the core idea. This debate isn't about what business schools are, but where they are on their journey. It's not a sign of failure at all. It's a sign of growth. It's a point in a life cycle that all sorts of professional schools, think medicine, think law, they've all been through it. The debate is basically a pin on a developmental map. So you see how this just flips the whole script? Instead of us sitting here judging a school as good or bad, too academic or not practical enough, this framework gives us a diagnostic tool. We're not asking if a school is conflicted anymore. We're asking why it's conflicted, based on where it is in its own evolution. All right, so to really get where B schools are today, we got to go back to the beginning. We need to see how they forged their identity in the first place. And this whole pattern, this move from pure practice to theory, it's a really well-worn path. So let's take a look at the roadmap. And here it is, the whole journey in 5 stages. First, you have craft orientation, then academic legitimacy. After that, prestige optimization, which leads to, you guessed it, responsibility tension. And finally, the goal, integrated impact. Let's walk through this step by step. So stage 1, craft orientation. In the very beginning, these schools were all about practice. It's kind of like how lawyers in the old days didn't always go to law school. They would read law with a practicing attorney. It was an apprenticeship. Early business schools, same deal. They were super tight with local businesses, basically acting as a high-level training ground. And right away, you see the first big trade-off. On the one hand, this model is awesome for teaching practical skills and getting people ready for a job. But on the other hand, it creates a new problem. Standards are all over the place, and the rest of the university world starts looking at you like you're not, serious enough. You risk being marginalized. Okay, so to fix that lightweight problem, the schools do a massive course correct. This is stage 2, academic legitimacy. They pivot hard toward the traditional research university model. This is exactly what happened in medicine, by the way, with the huge Flexner reforms. For business schools, this meant hiring tons of PhDs, pushing for peer-reviewed research, and getting really sophisticated with their methods to prove they were academically legit. And here, this is the critical moment. In solving the problem of having weak standards, and in their quest for credibility, they created the exact problem we're all still arguing about today. That growing gap between what the academics are researching and what people are actually doing in business. The whole rigor versus relevance debate, it was born right here, in stage 2. Okay, so fast forward a bit. Now we're getting into the modern era, and this is where things get interesting. Once everyone is pretty much accepted as legit, the game changes. It's not enough to just be at the table anymore. Now, it's about who's at the head of the table. It's all about prestige. Welcome to Stage 3, Prestige Optimization. This is where the whole system starts to look inward. The competition gets intense. It becomes all about climbing the rankings and getting that nod of approval from your academic peers. Success starts to be defined less by your impact on the outside world and more by your status inside this academic bubble. And prestige isn't just some vague idea. Oh no. It gets measured, and what gets measured gets managed. We're talking about very specific things here. Are you publishing in the top-tier journals? What are your citation counts? Where do you fall in the U.S. News and World Report rankings? How much grant money are you bringing in? It's all about peer recognition. These metrics become the engine that drives the whole machine. And this quote just nails the huge risk of this stage, the gradual elevation of internal academic signals over external societal contribution. Basically, the school gets so obsessed with winning the inside game, with chasing those internal metrics, that it starts to lose touch with its original purpose, contributing to the world outside its walls. And eventually, the outside world starts knocking on the door. This is stage 4, responsibility tension. Think about it. After a big financial crisis, or with all the talk about ESG, stakeholders, we're talking students, alumni, even governments, they start asking some really tough questions. They're like, hey, what are we actually getting for our money here? Not in citations, but in real, tangible impact. And this is where most business schools are living right now.
So let's break that conflict down. It's simple, really. The school is optimized for one thing, Stage 3 internal prestige. But it's being judged by a totally different set of rules, Stage 4 demands for external impact. It's like the school is speaking one language and the rest of the world is speaking another. The result isn't that the school is failing. It's that there is a deep structural misalignment. And that grinding noise you hear, that's the rigor versus relevance debate. Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, what's the prescription? What's the way out of this tension? Well, the framework tells us that the next stage, Stage 5, doesn't just happen. It's not automatic. It requires a very conscious, very deliberate choice. And that choice leads to Stage 5, integrated impact. This is all about deliberately redesigning the school to build a bridge between knowledge and practice. And listen, this isn't about throwing away academic rigor. Not at all. It's about extending it into the world. Think of translational research in medicine. The whole point is to get discoveries out of the lab and to the patient's bedside. It's the same idea. Your authority now comes from being both an excellent scholar and having proof that your ideas are actually being used to make a difference out there.
So at the end of the day, it really comes down to a choice between two paths. There's path A. You can just maintain the status quo, keep optimizing for those internal rankings, and just, deal with the criticism as it comes. Then there's path B. This one is way harder. It means a fundamental redesign of your incentives to reward both scholarly work and societal impact. It means you have to finally confront all those tricky trade-offs everyone's been trying to avoid.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, but with a new lens. The question isn't, is it too academic or not practical enough? The real question is, where does your school sit on this map? And maybe more importantly, where is it headed next? Look at its strategy, who it hires, what it rewards. Is it stuck in that tension of Stage 4, trying to serve two masters? Or is it actually making the tough choices to build that bridge to Stage 5? That's the conversation we should be having.